Hello, people. Welcome back to another video by your good friend, Chad Marco, the big on the key. I hope you guys are doing great. So we have another comments video for this wonderful Friday evening. And so let's get right into it. So Subneric says on the 32-year-old virgin video, honestly, I feel that Chad Marco is just a status sale, life progress sale. Owning your own vehicle, degree, condo, decent savings, etc. seems like the minimum in order to jump into dating. Don't lose hope, Chad Marco. Now, I wouldn't say that these things aren't a factor, right? They're definitely important. But you guys have to understand, I come from a different environment. You know, I'm black. I live in the black community. I live around the hood. Things are just different here. Again, these things help. Don't get me wrong. But I know guys who have multiple baby mamas and no job, or like they work sometimes or do odd jobs, no car, maybe got a car, right? Live with their mom. Things are just different here, right? Like you don't necessarily have to have those things to be successful with women where I'm from. Maybe these things simply, you know, help a lot. But I think for me, in my case, because of the type of person I am, I would probably definitely need those things to compensate for all the other reasons why girls might not like me. But yeah, I'm just saying it's kind of different over here. And so Eric GH9 Gold says on the small penis video, how would a virgin know what women want sexually? What experiences is he basing it on? Look, that's fine. I completely understand why somebody might say that, but I don't think that, well, one, I don't think that you necessarily have to have direct experience to know or understand certain things. Because if you look at a lot of the things and concepts that I talk about on my channel, it's not much different than what you would hear from like red pill channels or guys that are far more and vastly more experienced with women than I am. You know, I figured out a lot of the shit that I know just by observing people, just by observing the people around me and listening and just watching how things play out. So when I say stuff like this, I'm not just pulling it out of my ass. You know, I know these things because I've heard girls saying this growing up. I've told the stories before. I've heard my mom on the phone shaming guys with small dicks. I've heard multiple girls in school shaming guys with small dicks or praising the men with big dicks. I base what I believe on what I observe and see in real life, and people talk. People express themselves. I don't see girls saying, yeah, I love small dicks. And then whenever they're talking about a guy who's well endowed, it's always something positive or like, yeah, girl, he blew my, again. And so I'm just observing and paying attention to the things that I see. You know, I can't blame people for doubting me because I'm a virgin. That's fair. But a lot of what I think and believe about women is just based on simple observation, things that I've seen. And like, just as a good example, you know, I remember when my friend met his current girlfriend and he was just telling me like the step-by-step process of how they were like the relationship was escalating. And I just remember like, as he's telling me everything, like I was just connecting the dots and like red flag, red flag, red flag. It's like I was able to predict the trajectory, the toxic trajectory of their relationship from the very beginning. Right. And these things are just based on what I've learned, you know, partly through like red pill content, but also just observing. I could damn near predict every next step that she would take to trap his ass. And it happens step by step by step. So you don't have to have direct experience with women to understand certain things about them. You don't have to fuck bitches to know girls like tall niggas with big dicks. That's like common sense shit. And so Kimosabi 1313 says on the 32-year-old virgin video, Chad's so real for acknowledging why he became a wizard and embracing it. So many people at the age either cope by saying they're involuntarily going celibate, going asexual, becoming pure, or they cope in denial by thinking their prime years are yet to come and start subscribing to PUA coaches. Like this meme 13, at that 13, they can also become desperate and chose poor life decisions, mostly out of a fear of being alone. Yeah, you know, I'm not one for the cope. You know, I try to keep it real. And obviously in my case, it had nothing to do with being like involuntarily celibate. You know, I'm not the most attractive guy in the world, but I myself and a lot of you guys believe that had I really put in effort, I probably could have got something. It would have been with fat bitches, but you know, I could have gotten something, you know, and the whole idea of like, oh, the prime years are yet to come and whatnot. You know, I still feel like I'm young enough to where I could do a lot, but more so when I look at it, even if I started dating and having sex now, there is just a difference, right? Because I'm not the same person that I was at 25 or 20 or whatever. And any sort of relationship that I have is going to be a completely different dynamic. Like, there is, past a certain age, there's just certain type of things you're just not going to have in a relationship. If I get a girl that's younger than me, then it's still going to be, I wouldn't say unusual, but it's going to be a abnormal dynamic of, you know, a older guy with a younger woman, which I'm not against, but it is just objectively different from being, right, like 23 with a 22-year-old girlfriend. Also, if I were to date a woman my own age, again, you're talking about a drastically different dynamic from had I been dating in my 20s. And so much of the video was just about being real about the fact that, you know, not so much that I could never have sex or never date, but whatever dating or sex that I get from this point on, it's going to be a different dynamic. It's going to be it's going to be straight up different from what it would have been when I was younger, when I was 25 or early 20s. It just, no matter how you slice it, whether the girl is my age or younger, it's not going to be that 500 days of summer early 20s love. You know, and again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just recognizing that, you know, when you're committed to the MGTOW path, you give up certain things. And so Pumpkin3405 says, on the same video, I had a similar experience at around 31. People have always told me I look way older than my age. I went to get a haircut and was checking out this new hot 19-year-old hairdresser. I guess the older lady that was cutting my hair saw me glance at her ass real fast. She called me a dirty old man and laughed and said she doesn't like when older men look at younger girls. That was one of my first moments where I felt real old. I find nothing wrong with 31 and 19, but I guess some people do. And then Benjamin the Lifter says brutal. Yeah, that's one of the things too, right? Obviously, as you get older, any sort of like age gap relationship is going to become more taboo. Like I said before, I don't give a fuck. My rule is 18 and over, period. I don't care if I'm 100. I said, if I can fuck a prime 18-year-old, I'm doing it. But that being said, that is something that you have to contend with, because we live in a society where some people frown on that, you know, and I think most of the time, and in fact, I made a whole video about this and I'll put it out soon. But I think most of the time, you know, this whole disapproval of older men dating younger women is, I just think oftentimes it's just not based in anything solid. You know, I think it's just people kind of assuming the worst, assuming that the girl is an innocent virgin and assuming that the guy is some predator creep, right? That same 19-year-old girl that you were looking at, for all you know, she probably done had an abortion, 3-4 boyfriend, double-digit body count, OnlyFans, but then that woman's gonna still look at you, right, like you just robbing the cradle or something. Like you're going to prey on her or take advantage of her, or, you know, expose her to penis like she's never seen it before. And so Nico Flick said, oh yeah, I made a little post. Black cells have it rough. Yeah, Nico Flick says, new video dropping always. Hellbreaker says, you do you. The Red Knight says, do intermittent fasting and lift weights. You got this, chat. I already do that. You guys know better than that. Black Cell Neat says, you could thug max, to be honest. Get taxed and grow your dreads. My hair does not grow, man. I swear, my hair always gets stuck like at the length you guys see right now, it just doesn't get any longer than that. And then Monkey Jacket says, it's not fair. You know, sometimes I make posts like these and I always hope people don't get the wrong idea. You know, I'm not trying to make like some pity party depression post or something like that. It's meant to kind of just poke fun at the whole incel, vocel, black pill, whatever culture, right? I'm just having fun with it. It's, you know, but I feel like sometimes people kind of take it seriously, right? And think I'm saying more than what it really is. But oftentimes, if you see me posting like that, I'm kind of just joking and having fun. And so on the Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are not the answer video, Anton GSCHN says, same for me. I recently stumbled upon a vote who you prefer, Trump or Kamala, and I came to realization that I'm pro me. The only way I see democracy is when the people would control the budget via digital service or some sort directly, not via some Trump or whatever. And when the courts are controlled by AI, like it or not, but this is the only way they can be unbiased. But then again, AI can be controlled by humans who program it, but there's no other choice. Yeah, politicians are like real estate agents. They are unnecessary and harmfulness intermediaries between people and budget. Yeah, you get to a point when you start caring about politics, and you know, for the longest time, I really did not care about politics whatsoever. But maybe it's just something that comes with age, and you just start to take more of an interest in the world and just how everything works, right? You know, you start, oh, what about this whole taxes thing, and why do I got to do this, and why are we going to war, and you know, oh, this law changed, and then you just slowly, I just found myself being more interested in politics. But I've kind of just hit the point where I've realized that our whole political structure is just fucked up. And when you, I'll give you the perfect example of what I'm talking about, right? And I mentioned this in the same video, but when you look at our relationship with Israel, where it just seems like all of our politicians, or damn near all, it seems like 90 to 95% of them dick ride Israel so hard. And you have all these atrocities going on over there during the war with Gaza and whatnot. And there are very few, if any, of our significant politicians speaking out against it. And then you see Benjamin Netanyahu, the president of Israel, come, and then all our politicians are united to glaze this man. And what you realize is that we have this strange relationship with Israel where we are just dick riding them. We're their watchdog. However you want to describe it, we're Israel's bitch, basically. And so you look at that and you say, wait a minute, how the hell did we get here? Right? How many of the average American citizens really understand this relationship that we have with Israel? Now, remember, we're supposed to be by the people, for the people. But I guarantee you the average person does not know or understand why we have this kind of relationship with them. And I feel like this relationship perfectly illustrates the disconnect between the people and the politicians, where you can clearly see that they have their own in-group preference or agenda surrounding this relationship that the average person doesn't know, or does. Like, I went my whole life not knowing about this shit. And I guarantee you ask most people, they either vaguely know or whatever, but I seriously doubt you'll find many people, they're like, yeah, I love this, right? I love our relationship with, like, you'll. And so again, I just think that the more you look into it, you begin to see the disconnect. And then also something that I learned recently that I didn't know before is that, you know, I've heard this before, but I never really looked into it, but it's how America isn't even a democracy. It's a republic, which means that our country is not the rule of the majority, it's the rule of law. And it's like with voting, for instance. You notice that when Donald Trump won against Hillary Clinton, he lost the popular vote, but won in the Electoral College. And one thing that I learned about the Electoral College, now you would think, oh, they vote based on who gets the majority vote in that area. But from what I've read, they're not always obligated to vote like that. And so you think about it, it's like, wait a minute. The Electoral College doesn't even have to vote according to the popular vote of that particular district or that area. And then it goes further, and I talked about this in the video, where you have lobby groups, lobbyists that will pay certain politicians for pushing forward their agendas. Then you see how money controls it. You know, now I'm just going on a fucking tangent, but basically, yeah, you know, at this point, when I see people going head to head and fighting each other, disrespecting each other, calling each other names over these hand-picked politicians, it really just kind of, I wouldn't say it depresses me, it just disappoints me, because it's a reminder of how we are so divided that we're taking sides on politicians that at the end of the day are more than likely not going to be doing much to serve our best interest as the people. And so Fight Took Aishi says on the "When Did We Lose Control of Video Games" post, bro, look at Street Fighter 6 and you tell me. And damn, didn't know you was in the fighting games. Let's go, nigga. That sounds like a challenge, but I haven't been playing fighting games in a little while. You know, really, when I play fighting games, I'm either in or I'm out. And when I'm in, I go hard, sometimes too hard. But now that I have this new computer, maybe I can play Street Fighter 6 on it, and then I won't have to worry about having a damn PlayStation Network subscription just to play the damn game. But yeah, the whole post though, you see there, they censored Mai's breast, and Mai has always been known to be a titty monster. And then when they re-released this new SNK fighting game, well, it's a re-release of an old game, basically. They censored her breast on the, I think the American version, by making them very small. Took her from a G cup to like an A cup or some shit. Just ridiculous. And so on the little black dick video, Leo4750 says, look, I want to confess something. It's confession time over here. When I was in high school and college, girls my age used to struggle and ran from my penis. I used to be with an older married lady. I could be intimidated by her experience compared to the younger girls. One day, the married lady was on top and doing too much. I received a trauma. I never had that size again. I'm still good, but not like it was. This is another reason we need our fathers around. You never know how well you have it until you lose it. They would let you know what to watch out for to protect yourself. And I could have gone to emergency care if I wasn't embarrassed about what happened. I didn't know that could happen. Now, I don't know exactly what he means by trauma, but I do know of a male porn star. I think his name is Prince Joshua. And I think he had this situation where a girl was riding him on top and she was doing too much, and it basically bent his dick. And if you ever seen him, like his dick is like swollen or something at the bottom, right? And like when I seen this story, it just kind of made me think of that. And so yeah, because I've seen it in porn at times when the girl would be on top, and if the position isn't right, the dick can like bend. And I don't know exactly what happened to this guy here to where he would lose size. I've never heard of that. But I don't know, maybe he can't get the same size erection or whatever. But yeah, this is a tragic, this is a tragic thing. Like, just imagine being able to enjoy the life of a big dick thug nigga, and then you get downsized like that by some old crusty bitch. Damn. And then Silesian Warrior says on the Donald Trump Kamala Harris Will Not the Answer video, voting doesn't work. Grassroots movements are immediately subversive. Violence is pointless because they will just send more of them. Things are looking pretty bleak. They are. Like, over here, we see voting not working every time. Grassroots movements are immediately subversive. And think back to Occupy Wall Street. And then how all of that just transitioned into us being flooded with identity politics and diversity. Violence. Look at the UK. Britain. They tried to rise up and protest and things got violent, and then now it's fizzling out. Again, man, it's looking bleak, and so much of it is just because of how divided we are. There's way too much division. And I feel like a lot of this diversity shit is really by design, because the elites, they know the more, like, what is the root word of diversity? Divide. You have a divided people that are looking at each other as the enemy. Black versus white, straight versus gay, Muslim versus Christian, red versus blue, left versus right. And we're never going to win as the people like that. We're never going to win like that. Cypher P9 says on the Making Peace with Having a Small Penis video, not just a porn thing, I heard many different female perspectives on why bigger is better. Their reasons: bigger looks more manly. They like the full feeling. Thickness easily stimulates the G-spot. Girls like to bounce on top. Length, stop, slippage, more positions to use. All very factual and reasonable reasons. But like, the bigger looks more manly, I think is very similar to what women feel when they see a taller guy, or a guy with a beard, or a guy with muscles. I think that penis size is just as much an indicator or an expression or a signal of masculinity as any of the other traits I listed. They like the full feeling. You got to think, why would a woman want to have sex, or why would she enjoy sex when she can barely feel anything during penetration? People will oftentimes say, well, just eat pussy or just finger the bitch. But at some point, you gotta fuck. And so what's gonna be more exciting for a woman? Fucking and feeling, or fucking and feeling nothing? No brainer. Thickness easily stimulates the G-spot. Another feather in the cap. Girls like to bounce on top. Length, stop, slippage. And this kind of ties into the last point, more positions to use. You know, when you have a smaller dick, you can't hit them long strokes. You can't hit it from the side. Like, it's just certain shit you can't do. You can't pick her up and Ving Rhames baby boy. It's just certain things you just can't do. And so again, you got to think, like, who are they going to prefer sex? There's just so much more that a guy with a big dick can do over a guy with a little dick, that it's plain to see why women would prefer that. And so on the Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, or not the answer video, Retro Bra says Trump won't save us, but his policies are much better. Harris would be a total disaster. Now, I agree there. That's why I'm still voting for Trump. But I just feel like overall, it's still just a trap. And it's like, when you look at it from a higher level, where you consider the possibility that every candidate that we have is only there because they're chosen by the people that really control us. The shadow government, the Illuminati, the elites, NATO, globalists, whatever you want to label them. Then when you think about it, everything is by design. So even if you get Trump, you're still headed in the same direction. Maybe a little bit slower, but you're still headed there. And the thing is, and what I talked about in the video, is that, okay, we can get 4 years of Trump, but look at how quickly they were able to undo the work that he did. It took no time. Like, and I mentioned this in the Needs Were Right video, and I gave evidence. The Biden administration admitted in the beginning of his presidency that they altered and changed over 30 different policies regarding the border. And these were largely responsible for allowing the influx of mass illegal immigration, the illegal immigrants that were coming into the country. And then after people started complaining about it, they tried to wash their hands of it. Oh, it had nothing to do with us. We're trying to stop it. I mean, just blatant lies. But again, it just shows how quickly the hard work of a better president can be undone by the next administration. So again, it maybe he can do a better job. Hopefully he can, but I just don't think it's worth putting too much faith into it, because like I said, the system itself is what really doesn't work. And so Sheena Rhea says on the Making Peace with Having a Small Penis video, my guy has a small medium member and I love it. As for women who prefer big ones, they have had lots of sex with tons of guys and got stretched out down there. BJs are easier and fun on small to medium guys. Just saying, appreciate your honesty. Good message, Chad. You know what? We got to be specific though. You said small, medium. Right? Because I'm small. Because I don't like when girls do that, because for them, small medium could be like 6 inches. And we ain't, right? You know, 6 inches, 5.5, some shit like that. And the video wasn't about medium. It was about small dick, right? But take this as a positive message from a woman though. Not to be pessimistic, I'm just saying try to be more specific next time, because if you say small medium, I'm gonna just assume that you don't know how to measure. Right? And then NWK 1626 says on the Donald Trump Kamala Harris are not the answer video, you have those moments where you're like, but this side's in the right, the alternative is worse. But you're then reminded about both sides being hypocritical and very similar in good and bad ways, right? We said the same shit. Yeah, it's, you know, like I give you the perfect example, right? I go to the gym and you can see CNN, you can see Fox News. And I remember that when Donald Trump was president, one thing that I found weird was how the mass or the mainstream media machine was just so adamantly against him. And then now I'm seeing Fox News every now and then when I go to the gym, and I was like, damn, like they do the same shit as CNN, right? Like Fox News is just dick riding Donald Trump the way that CNN is gonna dick ride whoever the blue candidate is, whoever the Democratic candidate is gonna be. And so it's like, man, that's why now I kind of look at things differently. Now I get Donald Trump definitely had the bulk of the media against him in a way that we've probably never seen before. But in a lot of ways, when you look at both sides, you do see similarities in how people like the name calling. For instance, I remember when Donald Trump became president, and my friend, he swore down that Donald Trump was retarded. I'm like, bro, Donald Trump is not retarded. You might not like him. He might not be the most intelligent guy in the world, but he's not fucking retarded. Retarded is and then you look at the media and how they try to portray him as being like this big dumbass. But then I see people doing the same thing with Kamala. Now, I get it. Kamala has some goofy little moments, but when people call her dumb and retarded, and it's the same bullshit. She's not fucking stupid. She's not retarded. She might be evil. She might not give a fuck about black people. She might be corrupt. She might be in with the shadow government, but she ain't retarded. But I see people talking like that, and I don't like it on either side because it's just name calling. And then you see people like nitpicking little clips. Oh, she laughed funny and whatnot. And it's like, damn, this is the same dumb shit they were doing with Trump. Like, you know, or her husband cheated on his ex-wife. It's the same. Oh, Donald Trump and Stormy Daniels. It's the same bullshit. I'm just like, bro, like this is why I've realized that, you know, life is never going to get better for the average person, for the common man, until we break out of thinking like this, until we break out of falling for these little tricks of the red versus blue and that just the whole nonsense, right? Of these little political battles. It's crazy. Zan Cartoon says in the same video, Obama was not elected because he was black. He was elected because he was a great orator and held beliefs that fellow Americans could get behind. Watch Obama 2004 DNC convention speech and tell me you wouldn't vote for him. Similarly, I won't be voting for Kamala because she's black or a woman. I'm voting for her because I'm in favor of gun control, abortion, unions. Oh, my bad. I forgot to hit the read more there. But I agree. I'll be the first to say, well, I partially agree. I'll be the first to say, and I've always said this, Obama was one of the best politicians I've ever seen. Not presidents, but politicians. He had a good face card. You know, he was kind of handsome like John F. Kennedy was. He was on the younger side. He was well spoken. He was intelligent. Like, he was good at what he did as far as how he presented himself. Right now, his policy, the wars in the Middle East, right? That's up for debate. But I still believe that a big part of what got him elected was the fact that he was black. And even if he would have won regardless, I think that undoubtedly most black people voted for him based on the fact that him being black came first. Him being black was the first damn thing. I'm telling you, if Obama was a Republican, I think black people would have still voted for him because that was the number one thing for a lot of black people. I remember, you know, in this household, when Obama was running for president, my whole life, I've never seen my mom so interested in politics. She would look at the news every now and then, but when Obama was running and during the Obama years, my mom stayed glued to the news. She stayed glued to CNN. Like, it really got a lot of people interested, a lot of black people interested in politics and voting and things like that. But again, I give him all the credit in the world. He was a fantastic politician. You know, he was a great speaker and all that. I just believe that a lot of what got him in there was the fact that he was black. And then on the same video, Kim Osabi says, but Chad, if you vote for Trump, you're going to get labeled as weird by all the females online. Especially in the hood, man. You know, sometimes I be thinking about buying like a MAGA hat and walking around. But I might literally get into a fight. I'm like literally get into a fight doing some shit like that. You know, I like Trump, but I don't like him that much. I thought about it. I was like, if I did it, I'd be doing it just knowing I'm about to start shit. So I ain't gonna do it. Oh, man. But yeah, girls don't like me anyway. And so the Indigo Leo says on the Why I Have No Riz video, it's not so cut and dry to believe the only way to attract women is to be something you're not or to do a complete overhaul of who you are, but rather to improve yourself for the better and find who resonates, because that's what relationships is about, relating. Improving is as simple as having an unbiased, balanced awareness as to how you come off to people. Don't be in your ego with it. Just pay attention to yourself. Are you kind, or do you come off as abrasive and careless? Are you patient but still able to be assertive when you need to be? Or do you run people over, and are you too pushy and forceful? Masculinity to me is calculated ability to be able to dominate when necessary, but having the emotional, social IQ to know when to apply what. It's about what you do, how you do it, and the timing. Be chill, be natural, and get out of your head. Social skills is a dance back and forth, and you have to flow and be present in order to operate effectively. Now, I'm not saying that the only way to attract women is to be something that you're not. Some guys are naturally going to have the personality, the interest, and just like their behavior patterns are just what girls like. But every guy can't be that. Every guy is not going to be the cardboard cutout of what women like. In fact, some guys are going to be miles away the opposite of that, and maybe that's what I am, right? And so I'm not saying that like you got to be fake to get bitches. I'm saying a lot of guys they base how they direct themselves, they base what they choose to change about themselves around what women like. They'll wear a certain type of shoes because girls don't like this or they like that. They'll dress differently for girls. They'll talk differently for girls. That's what I'm talking about, right? And I'm just saying that if everybody is being themselves, everybody is not going to be attractive to women or to a greater number of women. Now, I do agree that, of course, you can be yourself and then just find someone that you're more compatible with, somebody that relates to you. And it's kind of like what I was talking about in the video. Like, even though I fail with women miserably, you know, my personality, my attitude, the way I carry myself, it works as far as like my relationships with other people. You guys fuck with me, my family loves me, my friends and all that shit. That's why I don't feel bad about it. But I think it is entirely possible to just have the sort of personality that is not attractive to women. And I also believe, simply put, that women just tend to be attracted to a much narrow set of traits compared to men. They tend to be more picky. They tend to be more selective. I believe that, sure, there could be girls out there that vibe with me, that fuck with me, but I think I'm simply less likely to run into them because I have a more abnormal type of personality that doesn't fit into the range of what girls typically like, right? So it's not to say I could never find a girl that likes me. I just think my base natural personality is not one that's going to be attractive to a broader range of women, and I'm okay with that. And so, now this one is funny. I don't know if I'm gonna read all this. This is a lot of text, bro. But Lucid9949 says, around 7, oh yeah, this is on the self-love video. My righteous behavior. Bro, my consciousness watches my behavior all the time. If I feel guilty, I couldn't do self-love. Wow, this sounds like very hoity-toity moral high grounding and being very proud of your seemingly immaculate moral character. Very impressive. But hey, do you mind I point out a little flaw in your otherwise perfect and clean moral character, Mr. Chad? I asked you about this and you said you are not vegan in some... all right, so I'm not gonna read the whole thing, it's a lot. But basically, this is the guy that's always getting on my ass about not being vegan because he believes that eating animals or the consumption of animal products is immoral or something, right? And so what I was talking about in the video is how your consciousness affects you based on your behaviors and what your perception of right and wrong is, what your moral compass happens to be. But the thing is, everybody doesn't have the same moral compass. If I do certain things, like there are certain things that I could do that would make me feel bad that wouldn't make somebody else feel bad. There are things that they could do, right, that would make them feel bad, but wouldn't make me feel bad. Like they're just some, like, and again, it's a very personal thing. It's just based on your own personal moral compass, which can evolve or devolve over time. But if you don't give a fuck, you don't give a fuck. Now, I'm not saying it's like, you know, there isn't merit to the vegan argument or the whole idea of, you know, animal suffering and trying to prevent that, right? But I'm simply stating that I don't give a fuck, right? I'm not perfect. I don't have immaculate, my bad, I hit the mic. I'm not perfect. I don't have immaculate moral character. I'm not an angel. I'm a regular guy just like everybody else. But there are just certain things that I care about, and there are certain things I don't give a fuck about. And right now, my consciousness does not give a fuck about veganism. Now, I wouldn't say I don't care about the suffering of animals, right? But to the extent to stop eating animal products, I'm not there yet, right? Now, if I see a dead cat, then damn. You know, I don't want to see animals out there starving or being abused and harmed. But I'm really just not at the point of caring to, like, I'm just not going to eat animal products. Now, I might have that evolution in my moral compass, or maybe not. But the point is that it's not about being perfect. It's not about having an immaculate moral character or nothing like that. It's about what your conscience tells you based on your behavior. And it differs from person to person. You know, like I said, there are some things that I do that would bother other people that would not bother me. And there are things that they do that that would bother me, but wouldn't bother them, right? Again, it's really just based on your moral compass. And I think that Lucid obviously feels strongly about this, but he's projecting his moral compass onto me when I just don't give a fuck, right? But at the same time, it's things that I care about that he wouldn't give a fuck about. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I will see you in the next. So, Johnny!